So you're interested in an aviation career, or you're just trying to fly for fun? You came to the right video. In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can become a pilot with no time to the exact amount of certifications and hours you need to apply at airlines. The most common mistake people don't realize when they're trying to start to fly is the stress and the amount of money it costs them. Step one, you wanna go get your medical certificate. You wanna do this before you start flying and studying, because if you fail on the medical exam, you can't be a pilot. So you're probably wondering, where am I gonna find a doctor that's gonna specialize in aviation to help me get my medical? Because you cannot go to any doctor you want to. A doctor that specializes in aviation medicine is known as an aviation medical examiner, an AME. They do an eye test, a hearing test, a physical. Most people will pass it first try, but there is surprises that you could be unaware of that can make you fail. There's class 1, class 2, and class 3 of a medical certificate. So if you're just trying to fly for fun, you can get a class 3, which is the easiest one to obtain. If you would like to get paid to fly, you at least need a class 2 medical. And if you want to go to the airlines, you need a class 1 medical. A lot of people have the misconception of that you need 20/20 vision to fly, which is not true. You could have glasses and you can wear contacts to fly, which could lead your vision to 20/20, which will help a lot, but you do not need perfect vision to fly. It is a rumor, it is a myth. So after you obtain your medical, what's next? Step 2 is finding a flight school that is right for you. There's many flight schools in the area, Part 61 and Part 141. So what's a Part 61 versus a Part 141, you may ask? Part 61 is you can fly at your own time, out of your own pocket. So yes, it is pay out of a pocket, which makes it a very tricky situation for a lot of the people that are trying to fly because it is so expensive. Part 61 will allow you to get the same amount of certifications and ratings as it would to be at a Part 141 school. They do the same thing, they just have different rules and structures they follow. So finding a school, you just gotta look up flight schools near you, and then you can figure out if they're Part 61 or Part 141. There's many programs out there too. You wanna make sure they have a good amount of planes so they're not running on back order of planes and you gotta wait for a big line of students to be done flying so you can wait till it's your turn to fly. So you can fly the newer planes, but they are gonna get more expensive and they are nicer and probably more fun to fly, but you can also fly the oldest aircraft there is, like a 152. You can usually get your license faster at a Part 141 school, but they are more rigid and they have a more structured layout you gotta follow. You can get it faster at a Part 61 school as well, but you gotta be full-time training, studying 24/7 if you'd like to do that. The location of the flight school plays a really big factor. You don't wanna be commuting really far every single day to your flight school. A closer one would be ideal, so those commuting expenses will add up very much. Picking a school that has an aircraft mechanics at the school is ideal. If the aircrafts break, they're gonna have to take them somewhere far away and work on maintenance, which could take a back order of days, weeks, maybe months to even get the airplane back. If they're already on site, they could be done way sooner than having to wait for the aircrafts. Picking a flight instructor can get you a long ways. That's gonna be a make or break situation for students. You can get a flight instructor that you just do not like and people are afraid to hey, I'm not feeling this, I would like a new flight instructor. You could totally request a new flight instructor. You're not set in stone on that flight instructor for the whole entire time you are learning how to fly. So how do you choose the ideal flight school? Step 1, you want to make a list of all the flight schools around you and contact them and ask them questions, whatever you're regarding your situation, your commute, expenses. Step 2, speak to the instructors. Make sure they're up to date, ready to teach people how to learn. They're not sleepy, they're not caring about your situation really. If they're there for you and want you to learn how to fly and are excited for you, they might be a good fit for you. And in step 3, you want to fly your first hour at the flight school. So it's called an intro to flight or a discovery flight. This is your first step inside of the cockpit up in the air. You're gonna be side by side with an instructor and go up in the air for about an hour, hour and a half, and they're gonna show you kind of the basics of how to fly a plane, and it's gonna tell you if you're really interested in the career or not, or if you just wanna fly for fun. A discovery flight will go around from $150 to $200. It depends on the aircraft and the instructor cost, because the instructor cost is usually around $50. The type of plane you're flying can range from $150 to $200. So after you pick the school and have the instructor you like, next step, start your flight training. So when you first start flying, it's gonna be very overwhelming. It's overwhelming for everybody, even myself. Being overwhelmed, don't let that be an end to your situation. You're gonna be overwhelmed, you're gonna be stressed. Just enjoy every moment that you can being in the cockpit. So now we're gonna talk about the structure of a flight lesson. So they're gonna talk about what they're gonna do prior to going up in the air. They're gonna break down what maneuvers, what lessons we're gonna go over, and then you're gonna start flying. So you're gonna fly and learn these different maneuvers going up in the air, and they're gonna go over many situations, and you're just gonna have to, one, see how they do it, and then two, you're gonna repeat them and do it all by yourself. And you're gonna continue that process until they think you are ready and comfortable enough with that maneuver. So after that, there will be a post-flight briefing explaining the lessons you guys just went over. And then it kind of will talk about your next flight lesson that you will learn the next time you go up to fly. So you have an idea and can go home and study for what you need to work on. After you go over X amount of lessons and your instructor feels you're comfortable enough to fly the plane by yourself, you will go up in the air and do your first solo flight. So to get your private pilot license, the minimum amount of hours you need is 40 hours of flight experience. Some of that will be with the instructor and some of it will be on your own, flying the aircraft by yourself. A lot of people typically takes about 70 to 80 hours to get your private pilot license. The instructor will not just let you go fly the plane when you're at 40 hours and just be like, okay, ready to take a test. I mean, it could very well happen if you're that good of a flyer, but typically it takes about 70 to 80 hours and the pilot will let you know, hey, I think you're ready to go take your private pilot license. So there's a knowledge test. The knowledge test contains 60 multiple choice questions. You have 2 hours to complete it and you need to score a 70% or higher in order to pass it. Studying for this is mandatory. Don't just go watch a couple videos on the internet and go study a couple books and just call it good. Go enroll in a private ground course, a private pilot ground course online, or at the school that you might be staying at, they probably offer a course, an in-class course. Studying is ideal and will take most of your time up learning to become a pilot. So after your written test, you're gonna go for your flying portion of the test. So you're gonna go with a designated pilot examiner, or known as a DPE. A DPE is an experienced examiner approved by the FAA. They can typically range from $700 to $1,100 just for the check ride. Their job is to make sure you're qualified, proficient, and safe at flying the aircraft. The flying portion of the test typically takes about an hour to 3 hours. During the flying portion, you will demonstrate skills and various maneuvers. And then you will also be tested on your ability and your decision making of the aircraft. If the DPE is happy with your skills, guess what? Welcome to the pilot community. Congratulations, you've now got your private pilot license. So how long does it take to get your private pilot certificate? It could take anywhere from 2 to 6 months, depending on the school, the location, and the cost. And of course, the weather. You're wondering, how much is it gonna cost me to go get my private pilot license? Well, it varies. With the medical, with your flight time, with the instructor, DPE costs, it usually could typically range from $13,000 to $20,000 in that range of money. So with the private pilot license, you can now go fly with friends, family, but you cannot fly in clouds or in just limited visibility. So after you get your pilot license, you're probably wondering, can I start making money to fly? Not yet. You gotta get your instrument rating. Your instrument rating will allow you to fly in clouds, fly with the limited visibility to where you're only using your instruments. And yes, it is the same as a private pilot license. You will need to do a written test and you will need to also do a flying portion test by a DPE. So you're probably wondering, can I fly now after I pass the instrument rating? Not yet, but you're almost there. You got to obtain your commercial pilot certificate. And that's what allows you to make money inside the cockpit. The process is very similar to the instrument and private pilot license. You will need to do a written and a flying portion test. To obtain your commercial license, you would have to flown 250 hours before trying to do the written test or the flying portion test. With the commercial rating, it is a very strict and structured layout. It's going to be way more difficult than your private pilot license and your instrument rating. So you're probably wondering, how long is this whole process going to take you to get from your private to your instrument to your commercial rating to 250 hours? Well, it depends. If you're full-time, part-time, weather, location, depends on many factors. It could take anywhere from half a year up to 3 years. So you're wondering, so after you become a commercial pilot, are you ready to fly at the airlines? Well, not yet. You need to build a lot more flight time. To apply at the airlines, they require a 1,500 hours of flight experience. And to do that, you can get commercial jobs flying skydivers, tours. What a lot of students do is they become a flight instructor and teach other students how to fly. It's a great way to build hours. It's a quick way to build hours, and the airlines like instructors. So those are the three main certifications. There's also a multi-engine rating. It's not required, but it is definitely going to help you a lot. So a multi-engine rating is pretty much, instead of having a single engine like the Cessna or a Piper airplane, you now have two engines on both sides of the body of the aircraft. These planes are very expensive to fly. They can go up to like $400 an hour just to fly the aircraft. So your final step is to get your ATP, your Airline Transport Certificate, which is the 1,500 hour mark you need in order to receive that. After you reach your 1,500 hours and obtain all your license and got your ATP, you're ready to apply at airlines. You're probably wondering, how much does this cost? Well, it varies incredibly. It's different with most people, if not everybody is different. It can typically range from about $60,000 all the way up to six figures into the $125,000 plus range. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new today. Take on this journey. It's gonna be a fun one, it's gonna be a hard one, but the payout and the lifestyle will be absolutely worth it. My name is Cameron, guys. We will catch you on the next one.